Join the conversation by calling in at 476-1045 or tweet into the show at 1045 The Team. It's Big Board Sports with Roger Weiland on 1045 The Team.
The Rancher Roger line always up and running. 518-881-1574. 518-881-1574. Tracking down Coach Keefe, who was all wound up on Saturday. I just heard Brian to ask Keefe, I guess before the game, I'm not in there, but like Brian's setting up for radio equipment, and we carry the games on our sister station, Alt 105.7. But I guess the head coach of Philadelphia and our coach, Rob Keefe, were having a few words before the game. So it was
before the game.
Before the game. Now, I thought I saw a hug when the game was over.
Sure.
But I think before the game, there was tension in the air, and it was an impressive win by Albany, 71-57. The coach joins us, as always, Monday morning for Big Board Sports. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, guys.
What's up,
How you
Coach?
doing?
How you doing, all right?
I'm feeling good, man. Number one playoff seed. Got a lot of work to do, but feeling good on a Monday.
Yeah, no doubt you should, man. I was in the house. It was impressive the way you played. And was there a little bit of tension in the air before the game started between you and their coach?
Hey, man, part of professional sports, man. I've known Clint for a long time, but no, he's a good guy. Nothing out of the ordinary. Just a couple words exchanged, but nothing, nothing bad. I mean, it's just, look, they're fired up, and they knew they were coming in here, and it was going to be a heated rivalry game, and everybody was prepared for it. And I knew it was going to be a big one because, and I'm sure you guys reported that Washington beat Baltimore.
Yeah.
So with that said, Philadelphia knew if they beat us, then, hey, they could get the number one seed. So absolutely, man, it was going to be a slugfest all night.
Of course, you won the attendance war, so even if you did lose, right, and you still run the table, the championship would still have been here because you head-to-head with everybody else, won the regular season attendance war, and you put over 10,000 people in the stands on Saturday night, Coach. Was pretty impressive.
Yeah, the fans came out, and we couldn't be more appreciative of what the fans have meant to us all year long, and I'm just so proud of the players that they handled their business on the field, for the fans. I mean, it's just what a great love affair we have with this community. But you're right. So we have the number one seed not only on the field, but we also have the number one seed because of attendance off the field. So either way, nobody can put an asterisk by our name. We've handled our business for the regular season all across the board. Just really proud of everyone that's involved and everybody that's supporting us.
Coach, what was the difference? Offensively, you scored every time you had the ball.
Well, that was huge, and so that's a goal every single week. And so I was super proud of the offense. That is something that we talk about every week, that every time we touch the ball, take what the defense gives you, but let's score in every single possession. And it's a possession game. So if we score in every possession, there's nothing you can do. There's no, there's nothing you can take away from us. And last time we lost to Philadelphia, well, we didn't score on one possession. Now, offense has been playing great all year, but if the defense, God forbid, was having trouble and we weren't stopping them, then, there would be a problem. And that's why it's so imperative to score on every single possession. And so the coaching staff and the players, I mean, what a great game plan they had, but they just really stepped up to the plate. And they knew, that we were going to win this football game, and they had great confidence. Tommy Truss and the receivers, offensive line has been doing a great job all year. And then Michael Benson, what a great addition in the running game. So we're hitting on all cylinders, and that's exactly what we wanted going into the playoffs with a game like that, won against Philadelphia for the number one seed, but then also to hit one of our goals on scoring every single possession. Like, you can't get much hotter than that going into the playoffs.
Empire head coach Rob Keefe with us here on Big Board Sports 104.5, the Team, ESPN Radio, and hopefully you're checking out the Albany Empire Express every Friday and Saturday on My 4 as Coach Keefe breaks down the game before and does a great job of previewing that weekend's game. Coach, did Washington do you a favor by getting a win on Saturday? Not only to obviously make it just a win and you're in kind of set up Saturday night, but also maybe to remind your players that this isn't all of a sudden just going to be easy because we're the number one seed.
Well, it's a good question because, I guess you can answer that two ways. So the first way is obviously we're about to play Philadelphia, who we super, respect. And, both locker rooms were watching the game. And so you can see guys, I mean, there's nothing I can do. I can't take the phone, the phones away from the guys, right? And so, they're very aware of the score. Well, you hear Philadelphia's locker room erupt when Washington beat Baltimore. And so they said, hey, and so I walked right into the coaching staff and and they knew they were very aware of the score. I said, this game just got a lot liver than it already has. So we knew it was going to be an intense rivalry. So Washington beating Baltimore, I think, in that regard, made our game even more interesting, and I think proved to us that, look, we just beat Philly technically at their best, that they knew that they had to come in here and they had to win that football game. But, look, if we see Philadelphia again, they're going to be ready to rock and roll, so we might do this a fifth time. But with that being said, you're right. Now that Washington did beat Baltimore, who all Baltimore had to do was win that football game. If Baltimore won that game and Philadelphia beat us, Baltimore would be the number one seed. So Baltimore had everything to play for in that game. And so the fact that Washington was able to beat them, you're exactly right, shows to our players you can't take anyone lightly.
Yeah, there's no question.
Yeah,
I mean, you
can't do that. You got to respect everybody, and you got to take things very, very serious. And you're right. I think it helps us with our mental preparation that, this ball can bounce pretty funny in arena football, so we have to make sure we respect Washington on all accords.
Coach Rob Keefe with us here on Big Board Sports. 71-57 final score on Saturday in front of just over 10,082, the announced crowd. Now, Coach, they did score twice, right? At the end, they scored on two possessions at the end. What happened in the end zone when they kicked off and then ran down and recovered it in the end zone? What was that all about?
Yeah, so basically and that's another thing the fans haven't seen, right? So there's a lot of things that happened in that game. So there was a fake 2-point conversion. We onside kicked in a non-onside kick time. We were very fortunate to get that back. There was a safety that happened in the game, which is a huge momentum shift for the team that gets safety. Fortunate enough for us, it was us that got the safety. Well, then what we do is when we know there's an onside kick time, a lot of teams will bring 8 men up. The problem with that is when you bring all 8 men up and you don't have a kick returner back, that they can kick the ball deep, and now it's a mad dash to get the football. And so we had a mad dash to get the football, and we knew that could be a possibility. The problem is we blocked it wrong. What we should have done, we should have grabbed, we should have held, we should have blocked. The problem is everybody turned around and they ran back. With that being said, we still had an opportunity to get the football. Jordan Williams, who's one of the fastest guys in the Arena Football League, had an opportunity to get the football. He dove on the football, and it just slipped out of his hands, and then James Romaine, their safety, who was running down there because, again, it's a live football, falls on the ball. And then you saw the body language kind of turn, and that was something that we didn't want to happen. I was proud of the guys that they were a little shocked that happened. And then it was, hey, let's get the body language back up. We're going to do this all over again. They got to kick the extra point. They got to onside kick us. It's okay. They got a possession back, but very fortunate enough for us to be up by 3 possessions at that time. So that was something that we haven't seen yet, and the guys were prepared for it. We just have to execute that better. So I always say this: it's always better to learn in a win than have regrets in a loss. And so on the onside kicks or special teams or kickoffs or, field goals, whatever it is, the walls are all out of bounds. So the coaching point for that is we just need to hit that ball into the wall. It would have been dead. We probably would have finished the game because they 3 timeouts. All we had to do was get a first down, and we would have closed the game out right there. But that extended the game a little bit more than we'd like. But proud of the way the guys closed the game out because, again, we were in that same situation where onside kicks come to a factor, and the guys did a great job of being there all night, being in the right places, and really worked on finishing the game the right way, and I'm proud we came out with a win.
One thing I also noticed watching is that you did run the football. The big boy Benson, definitely, since you brought him in, Michael Benson, big factor for you on Saturday.
Well, he's a huge factor. So last time we played Philadelphia, it was kind of this back and forth, nonstop, scoring affair. And Coach Moss will tell you best, from an offensive standpoint, if we're scoring in 1 or 2 plays with Malachi, Joe Hills, right, Carr, and Colin Taylor, Jordan Williams, if it's, we're throwing bombs down the field, well, then our defense doesn't have really a chance to rest. And if we go out there for 6, 7, 8 plays, if they score, hey, so be it. It's arena football. But then if we score again on 1 or 2 plays, we're back out there again. And what we don't realize we're doing is we could possibly be wearing out our defense. And so what Michael Benson does is Michael Benson allows us to control the clock a little bit. I think running the ball, too, gives us a different sense of physicality that maybe a pass offense, doesn't really do. If you're just always pass setting, you're not really attacking the defensive line. When you run the football on the goal line, you impose your will. And we got some big boys up front. And so Benson's a load. There's a number of things that just running the football in the Arena Football League can do for you. And what a great job. We trust the guy. He won a championship last year with Philadelphia. So he's battle-tested. He really wanted to be here with us this year and gives us a great dynamic and just a really wonderful person, too. Great character guy, high energy. Guys really enjoy him. But, yeah, the running game is imperative, and that was kind of something that we were missing from the fullback spot earlier this year, and he was kind of the last piece of the puzzle, to make this offense come full circle.
Coach, as the higher seed, you get to choose in this home-and-home series against Washington, whether you go on the road first or play at home first. As you make that decision, what is it that led you to say, you know what, let's go on the road first and we'll play the back end of this thing at home?
Yeah, well, I think going on the road first, it's much like if you had an overtime situation. So we haven't had an overtime situation in arena football yet. And so to teach the fans about that, it's much like the NFL. It's you have an opportunity to possess the ball one time, and then it goes down to sudden death. So much like any overtime, you would if you get the ball first, you would go, hopefully you probably score a touchdown. It's arena football, could likely happen, and then you have to kick the extra point. Well, you don't want it to go in sudden death if you're the second team, because sudden death means the first team to score wins. Well, in arena football, it's not that hard to score, especially if you're overtime. That means everybody's probably scoring on everyone. So if you have the ball second, you score a touchdown, and then you go for two. You do not let the team ever see the ball back, and you keep it in your hands, and you trust your offense. So that's kind of where the rationale comes from, where let's go to Washington first. We're going to play to win, and then because we play two games back-to-back, we want the second one at home. We want it in our house. We want to have the more control over the situation the second time to keep it in our hands as much as we possibly can, in this kind of playoff format setting. But that's kind of the idea, patterned it around the overtime rules. That's kind of how we're looking at it.
Well, listen, you've pushed the right buttons all season long there, Coach Keefe, so I have no doubt that you're doing the same thing here. Looking forward to it, man. We'll see you for the taping of the Albany Empire Express on Wednesday. And by the way, word is we are miking up Coach Moss.
That's right.
Hey, you're gonna love that, and so that's a whole nother dynamic, and how much he means not only to our team and the knowledge that he has with the game, but he's awesome to be around. So the players love him. I think you guys are going to get great content. I can't wait to see it.
Sounds good, Coach. Thanks for a few minutes. Get that nap in, all right?
Yes, sir. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.